Your story is the thread that weaves through every interaction, every glance, every word you share. But here's the truth. Not all threads need to be unraveled at once. There's a profound beauty in holding back pieces of yourself, in letting him discover your layers over time. When you pace the revelation of your story, you create a rhythm that keeps curiosity alive. You become a puzzle he can't resist solving, a mystery he wants to unravel. And in that process, you transform from someone he knows into someone he deeply desires to understand. Think about the books or movies that have stayed with you long after the final page or scene. What made them unforgettable? Chances are it wasn't just the plot, it was the way the story unfolded. The best narratives don't rush to tie up loose ends. They linger, building anticipation and leaving room for interpretation. Your life is no different. It's filled with moments, memories, and dreams that deserve to be shared in stages, each one adding depth and color to the portrait of who you are. By resisting the urge to reveal everything up front, you give him a reason to keep coming back, eager to uncover the next chapter of your journey. This isn't about withholding your truth or playing coy. It's about honoring the complexity of your experiences. Every person carries within them a tapestry of stories, some joyful, some painful, all uniquely theirs. When you rush to share these stories too soon, you risk flattening their richness. Instead of being seen as multidimensional, you might come across as predictable or overly familiar. But when you let your narrative unfold gradually, you invite him to engage with your world on a deeper level. You allow him to sit with the weight of your words, to reflect on their meaning, to wonder what comes next. This deliberate pacing transforms ordinary conversations into something extraordinary, a shared exploration of who you are and who you're becoming. Consider how this plays out in real life. Have you ever met someone who seemed fascinating, not because of what they said, but because of what they left unsaid? Their pauses, their thoughtful silences, their selective sharing created an aura of intrigue. They didn't need to explain themselves constantly because their presence alone sparked questions. Who are they? What shaped them? What lies beneath the surface? These unanswered questions became the foundation of connection, drawing others closer with every interaction. Now imagine embodying that same energy. Imagine being someone whose words carry weight because they're chosen carefully, whose stories resonate because they're revealed intentionally. That's the kind of magnetism you're capable of cultivating. The key to mastering this art lies in understanding the difference between sharing and storytelling. Sharing is transactional. It's about giving information. Storytelling, on the other hand, is transformational. It's about creating an experience. When you tell a story, you don't just recount events. You paint a picture, evoke emotions, and leave a lasting impression. You invite him into your world, not to observe, but to participate. For example, instead of listing facts about your day, focus on the moments that stood out. The unexpected twist, the small victory, the fleeting feeling that lingered. Let those details spark his imagination, prompting him to ask follow-up questions and dig deeper into your experience. This turns a simple exchange into a meaningful dialogue, fostering a sense of intimacy that goes beyond surface-level conversation. And then there's the power of omission. Sometimes what you don't say speaks louder than what you do. Leaving gaps in your narrative invites him to fill them with his own interpretations, assumptions, and curiosities. It gives him permission to wonder, to speculate, to invest emotionally in discovering more about you. This dynamic creates a subtle tension, a push and pull that keeps him engaged. He'll find himself thinking about you even when you're not around, piecing together the fragments of your story and craving the missing pieces. And when you finally reveal those pieces, they'll feel like treasures, rewards for his patience and interest. But pacing your story requires self-awareness. It means knowing which parts of yourself to share and when, trusting your instincts to guide you. Start by reflecting on your past interactions. Do you tend to overshare in moments of vulnerability, spilling your thoughts and emotions without filtering them? Or do you hold back too much, leaving him unsure of how to connect with you? Neither extreme serves you well. The goal is balance, revealing enough to build trust while retaining enough to sustain intrigue. This equilibrium allows you to control the narrative, shaping how he perceives you and ensuring that perception aligns with the version of yourself you want to project. As you refine this skill, remember that your story is yours to tell. No one else gets to decide how much or how little you share. You are the author of your narrative, and every word you speak is a brushstroke on the canvas of your identity. When you embrace this role, you take ownership of your power. You stop seeking validation through constant explanation and start trusting that your essence speaks louder than any words ever could. This shift transforms not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. You begin to recognize your value not as something that needs to be proven, but as something that simply exists, waiting to be discovered. Ultimately, pacing your story is about more than keeping him intrigued. It's about respecting the depth of who you are. It's about refusing to reduce yourself to sound bites or summaries, choosing instead to let your complexity shine through in its own time. When you approach your narrative with intention, you signal to the world and to yourself that you are someone worth exploring, someone whose layers are worth uncovering, someone whose presence adds richness and meaning to the lives of those around you. And as you continue to master this art, you'll find that it doesn't just enhance your romantic relationships, it elevates every connection you make. People will gravitate toward you not because you demand their attention, but because you exude a quiet confidence that's impossible to ignore. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, what parts of my story am I willing to share now, and what parts will I save for later? How can I use my narrative to build anticipation, to foster curiosity, to deepen the bond between us? These questions aren't just exercises. They're opportunities to redefine how you engage with the world. Because when you learn to pace your story with purpose, you don't just capture his intrigue, you inspire it. You become someone unforgettable, someone irreplaceable, someone who embodies the perfect blend of mystery and magnetism. And that, above all else, is how you stay unforgettable. Unpredictability is the spark that keeps relationships alive. It's the unexpected twist in an otherwise ordinary day, the element of surprise that reignites passion and curiosity. Think about the moments that stand out in your memory. The spontaneous road trips, the unplanned late-night conversations, the small gestures that caught you off guard. These aren't just fleeting experiences. They're reminders that life doesn't have to be predictable to be beautiful. And when you bring unpredictability into your interactions, you create a dynamic that feels fresh, exciting, and endlessly engaging. But unpredictability isn't about chaos or inconsistency. It's about balance. Too much routine can breed complacency, but too much randomness can feel overwhelming. The magic happens when you strike the perfect equilibrium between stability and surprise. Stability provides a foundation, a sense of safety and trust that allows him to relax and be himself. Surprise, on the other hand, injects energy and excitement, keeping him on his toes and eager to see what comes next. When you master this balance, you become someone who feels both reliable and exhilarating, a paradox that's impossible to resist. Start by embracing spontaneity in your daily life. Do things that break the mold, that challenge expectations, that push you out of your comfort zone. Try a new hobby, explore a different part of town, or pick up a skill you've always been curious about. These actions not only enrich your own life, but also give you stories to share, experiences that add depth and intrigue to your personality. When he sees you as someone who's constantly evolving, constantly trying new things, he'll naturally want to stay close, eager to witness the next chapter of your journey. You become a living, breathing adventure, a person who makes every moment feel like an opportunity for discovery. And then there's the power of breaking patterns. Humans are creatures of habit, and while routines can provide structure, they can also lead to monotony. If your interactions follow the same script every time, same questions, same responses, same activities, he may start to take you for granted. But when you introduce variation, even in small ways, you disrupt that predictability. For instance, instead of always meeting at the same cafe, suggest a picnic in the park or a visit to a museum neither of you has seen before. Instead of sticking to familiar topics, bring up something unexpected. A book you're reading, a documentary you watched, a dream you've been chasing. These subtle shifts keep him guessing, wondering what you'll do or say next. The key to effective unpredictability lies in intentionality. It's not about being erratic or unreliable. It's about creating moments that feel deliberate yet surprising. For example, if he expects you to text back immediately, wait a little longer than usual. Let him sit with the anticipation of hearing from you. When you finally respond, make it thoughtful, meaningful, something that rewards his patience. Or If you typically plan your dates weeks in advance, throw in a last-minute invitation to do something fun and unexpected. These moments don't need to be grand gestures. Often, it's the smallest surprises that leave the biggest impression. What matters is the effort behind them, the conscious decision to break free from the expected and create something memorable. But unpredictability isn't just about actions, it's also about mindset. When you approach life with a spirit of curiosity and openness, you naturally infuse your interactions with a sense of wonder. Ask questions you wouldn't normally ask, explore topics you haven't considered before, and allow yourself to be genuinely surprised by the answers. This attitude invites him to do the same, fostering a connection that feels vibrant and alive. It transforms your relationship from a static routine into a shared exploration where both of you are constantly learning and growing together. This approach also challenges you to step outside your own patterns. Often we fall into habits without realizing it, always initiating contact, always choosing the same activities, always responding in the same way. By consciously varying your behavior, you not only keep him intrigued, but also rediscover parts of yourself you may have forgotten. You reconnect with the version of you that thrives on spontaneity, that finds joy in the unexpected, that refuses to settle for anything less than extraordinary. This rediscovery is empowering, reminding you that you are capable of so much more than you might currently believe. As you embrace unpredictability, remember that it's not about changing who you are, it's about enhancing who you already are. You don't need to become someone you're not to keep him interested. Instead, focus on amplifying the qualities that make you unique. Are you naturally adventurous? Lean into that. Do you have a quirky sense of humor? Let it shine. By staying true to yourself while introducing elements of surprise, you create a version of you that feels authentic, yet endlessly fascinating. This combination is irresistible because it's real. It's you at your best, unapologetically owning your individuality. Ultimately, unpredictability is about refusing to let life or your relationship become stagnant. It's about embracing change, welcoming growth, and finding beauty in the unknown. When you embody this mindset, you signal to him and to the world that you are someone worth pursuing, someone who brings excitement and vitality to every moment, someone who refuses to settle for mediocrity. And as you continue to refine this skill, you'll find that it doesn't just benefit your romantic connections, it enhances every area of your life. People will gravitate toward you not because you demand their attention, but because you exude a magnetic energy that's impossible to ignore. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, how can I introduce more spontaneity into my life? How can I break free from predictable patterns and create moments that feel fresh and exciting? These questions aren't just exercises, they're invitations to redefine how you engage with the world. Because when you master the art of unpredictability, you don't just capture his intrigue, you inspire it. You become someone unforgettable, someone irreplaceable, someone who embodies the perfect blend of mystery and magnetism. And that, above all else, is how you stay unforgettable. Listening is an art, and like any art, it requires practice, patience, and presence. When you truly listen, not just to respond, but to understand, you create a space where connection thrives. It's in those moments of deep attention that relationships deepen, trust grows, and intimacy takes root. Think about the people who make you feel heard, the ones who lean in, nod thoughtfully, and ask follow-up questions. How do they make you feel? Valued, respected, understood. Now imagine being that person for him. Imagine being someone whose listening skills leave such an impression that he can't help but want to share more with you. That's the kind of energy you're capable of cultivating. True listening goes beyond words. It's about tuning into emotions, tone, and unspoken cues. It's noticing the way his voice softens when he talks about something important, or how his body language shifts when he's unsure. These subtleties tell a story that words alone often can't capture. When you pay attention to these details, you show him that you see him, not just the surface level version he presents to the world, but the deeper layers beneath. This level of attentiveness doesn't just build rapport, it fosters a bond that feels rare and precious. He'll start to realize that you're not just hearing him, you're truly understanding him. But here's the truth. Most people don't listen. They wait. They hear half of what's said and spend the rest of the time planning their response. This approach might work in casual conversations, but it falls short when it comes to creating meaningful connections. To be someone who listens deeply, you need to let go of the urge to jump in, to fill every silence, to steer the conversation back to yourself. Instead, give him the gift of your full attention. Let him speak without interruption, without judgment, without the pressure of needing to entertain you. When you do this, you create a safe space where he feels free to open up, to share parts of himself he might otherwise keep hidden. The power of listening lies in its reciprocity. When you listen well, you invite him to do the same. It becomes a cycle, a mutual exchange of energy where both of you feel seen and valued. This dynamic transforms ordinary conversations into something extraordinary. It turns small talk into deep dialogue, fleeting interactions into lasting memories. And as you continue to hone this skill, you'll notice a shift not just in how he perceives you, but in how you perceive yourself. You'll start to see yourself as someone who gives others the gift of presence, someone who makes people feel important simply by being there. Listening also has a way of amplifying your own intuition. When you focus on what someone is saying, really saying, you begin to pick up on things you might have missed before. You notice patterns in their words, inconsistencies in their tone, flashes of emotion they try to hide. These insights allow you to respond in ways that resonate deeply, showing him that you're attuned to his needs and feelings. Over time, this ability becomes second nature, transforming you into someone who doesn't just react but connects on a profound level. And when you connect like that, you become unforgettable. But mastering the art of listening isn't just about paying attention. It's about responding thoughtfully. It's about asking questions that dig deeper, that encourage him to reflect and elaborate. For example, instead of nodding and saying that's interesting, try asking what made you feel that way, or how did that moment change you? These kinds of questions signal that you're engaged, that you care enough to explore the nuances of his experience. They also create opportunities for vulnerability, allowing him to share parts of himself he might not reveal otherwise. This level of engagement builds intimacy, turning casual exchanges into moments of genuine connection. And then there's the beauty of silence. In a world obsessed with noise, silence can feel revolutionary. Yet, it's in those quiet pauses that true understanding often emerges. When you resist the urge to fill every gap with words, you give him room to process, to think, to breathe. These moments of stillness allow emotions to settle, giving both of you the chance to fully absorb what's being shared. Silence, when used intentionally, becomes a powerful tool, one that deepens your bond and reinforces the trust between you. As you embrace the practice of listening, remember that it's not about perfection, it's about effort. No one expects you to catch every detail or respond flawlessly every time. What matters is the intention behind your actions. Are you genuinely trying to understand him, or are you simply going through the motions? The difference is subtle but significant. When you approach conversations with authenticity, with a desire to connect rather than impress, you naturally draw people closer. Your energy shifts, becoming more inviting, more magnetic, and as that energy grows, so does the strength of your relationship. Ultimately, listening is about more than keeping him intrigued. It's about honoring the humanity in both of you. It's about recognizing that everyone carries within them a story worth hearing, a perspective worth exploring. When you listen deeply, you signal to him and to yourself that you value connection over convenience, understanding over assumption. This mindset transforms not just how you engage with him, but how you engage with the world. You become someone who sees people, who hears them, who makes them feel like they matter. And when you embody that energy, you inspire others to do the same. So as you move forward, ask yourself, how can I become a better listener? How can I use my attention, my questions, my silence to create moments of genuine connection? These questions aren't just exercises, they're opportunities to redefine how you show up in your relationships. Because when you master the art of listening, you don't just capture his intrigue, you inspire it. You become someone unforgettable, someone irreplaceable, someone who embodies the perfect blend of mystery and magnetism. And that, above all else, is how you stay unforgettable. Imagination is the bridge that connects curiosity to desire. When you leave room for him to wonder, to dream, to fill in the gaps of what he doesn't fully understand about you, you ignite a spark that fuels connection. It's not about telling him everything, it's about giving him just enough to let his mind wander, to paint pictures of who you are and what your world might be like when he's not around. That space you create becomes fertile ground for fascination, a place where his thoughts linger and his interest deepens. And the more he imagines, the more he wants to know. Human beings are wired to seek answers, but the most compelling questions are the ones we can't easily solve. When you allow parts of yourself to remain undefined, you invite him into a process of discovery that feels endlessly engaging. Think about how a half-finished story captures attention more than one with all its loose ends tied up. The unknown leaves room for interpretation, for speculation, for longing. By choosing what to reveal and what to withhold, you become the author of a narrative that keeps him turning pages, eager to uncover the next twist or revelation. You aren't just someone he interacts with, you're someone he thinks about long after the moment has passed. This dynamic works because imagination thrives on possibility. The less concrete the image, the more vividly his mind fills in the blanks. For instance, instead of detailing every aspect of your day, share only the highlights, the moments that stood out, the emotions that lingered, the mysteries you encountered along the way. Let him piece together the rest, imagining the scenes you've left unsaid. This approach transforms simple anecdotes into something richer, something layered, something that invites him to participate in your story rather than simply observe it. He'll find himself wondering what else lies beneath the surface, craving the chance to dig deeper. But leaving room for imagination isn't just about what you say, it's also about what you don't say. Silence, pauses, and thoughtful reflections can speak volumes without uttering a word. These moments give him permission to step into the conversation with his own thoughts, his own interpretations, his own desires. They create a subtle tension, a push and pull that draws him closer. Instead of rushing to explain or clarify, let him sit with the mystery for a while. Allow him to wrestle with unanswered questions, to speculate about the meaning behind your words or actions. In doing so, you turn ordinary interactions into something extraordinary, a shared exploration of who you are and who you might become. The power of this approach lies in its ability to make him an active participant in your relationship. When you leave gaps for his imagination to fill, you shift the dynamic from passive observation to active engagement. He stops being a spectator and starts becoming a co-creator, someone who invests emotionally in understanding you. This investment strengthens the bond between you, making each interaction feel more meaningful, more charged with potential. Over time, this sense of collaboration transforms how he sees you, not as someone predictable or easy to figure out, but as someone complex, multifaceted, and endlessly intriguing. And yet, embracing this mindset requires confidence. It means trusting that you don't need to explain yourself fully to be valued. It means believing that your essence is strong enough to captivate without needing constant validation through oversharing. When you adopt this perspective, you take ownership of your power. You stop seeking approval through excessive transparency and start trusting that your presence alone is enough to inspire curiosity. This shift changes not just how others perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. You begin to see yourself as someone rare, someone worth chasing, someone whose layers unfold gradually, revealing new depths with every encounter. As you practice leaving room for imagination, remember that it's not about withholding your truth, it's about pacing its revelation. There's a difference between creating intrigue and building walls. Intrigue invites connection, walls shut it down. Be intentional about which pieces of yourself you choose to share and which ones you save for later. Focus on cultivating a rhythm that feels natural, authentic, and aligned with the kind of relationship you want to build. Each pause, each unanswered question should serve a purpose, to deepen the bond, to heighten the anticipation, to keep him coming back for more. Ultimately, leaving room for imagination is about respecting the beauty of uncertainty. Life's most memorable moments often arise from the unexpected, the undefined, the spaces where possibility reigns supreme. When you embrace this philosophy, you signal to him and to yourself that you are someone who refuses to settle for the mundane, someone who thrives on nuance, on subtlety, on the art of suggestion, or someone who understands that true magnetism comes not from having all the answers, but from inspiring others to seek them. And as you continue to refine this skill, you'll find that it doesn't just enhance your romantic relationships, it elevates every connection you make. People will gravitate towards you not because you demand their attention, but because you exude an energy that's impossible to ignore. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, How can I use my words, my silences, my stories to spark his imagination? How can I create moments that invite him to wonder, to speculate, to dream? These questions aren't just exercises. They're opportunities to redefine how you engage with the world. Because when you master the art of leaving room for imagination, you don't just capture his intrigue, you inspire it. You become someone unforgettable, someone irreplaceable, someone who embodies the perfect blend of mystery and magnetism. And that, above all else, is how you stay unforgettable. Independence is the foundation of magnetism. When you embrace your own life with passion and purpose, you become someone who doesn't need validation from others, but naturally earns it. Think about the people who captivate you most. Are they the ones constantly seeking approval, clinging to others for their sense of worth? Or are they the ones who seem whole, vibrant, and unshakably themselves? The truth is, nothing draws admiration like someone who radiates self-sufficiency. When you live a life that's rich, fulfilling, and entirely your own, you create an energy that's impossible to ignore, and he'll feel it too. True independence isn't about isolation or shutting others out. It's about cultivating a world where you thrive without needing anyone else to complete you. This doesn't mean relationships aren't important, they're essential. But when you enter them from a place of wholeness rather than lack, everything shifts. You stop looking to him to fill gaps in your life and start bringing your best self to the table instead. Suddenly, you're not just someone he spends time with. You're someone he admires, respects, and wants to be around because of the light you carry within you. That kind of energy transforms how he sees you, elevating you from partner to inspiration. The beauty of independence lies in its ability to make you magnetic. When you prioritize your passions, nurture your friendships, and chase your dreams, you create a life that feels exciting, dynamic, and full of possibility. And when he steps into that world, he doesn't just see you, he sees all the things that make you extraordinary. He notices the way your eyes light up when you talk about your latest project, the confidence you exude when you're pursuing something you love, the joy you find in moments spent with people who matter to you. These qualities don't just attract attention, they command it. They remind him why he fell for you in the first place and why staying close to you feels like being part of something special. But embracing independence requires courage. It means stepping away from societal pressures that tell you to put others first, to sacrifice your needs for the sake of connection. It means saying no to things that drain you and yes to experiences that fuel your soul. Start by carving out time for yourself, not as an afterthought, but as a priority. Whether it's taking a solo trip, signing up for a class you've always wanted to try, or simply spending an evening doing something that brings you peace, these acts of self-care reinforce your sense of autonomy. They remind you that you are enough on your own, and that knowledge gives you the freedom to show up fully in your relationships. This mindset also challenges you to redefine what fulfillment looks like. For so many people, happiness becomes tied to external factors, a relationship, a job title, someone else's approval, but true contentment comes from within. It's about finding joy in the process of becoming, celebrating small victories along the way, and trusting that your journey is uniquely yours. When you adopt this perspective, you stop relying on him or anyone else to validate your existence. Instead, you focus on building a life that excites you, one that feels aligned with your values and aspirations, and as you do, you'll notice a shift, not just in how he perceives you, but in how you perceive yourself. And then there's the ripple effect of independence. When you lead a life that inspires you, you inspire others too. Your energy becomes contagious, sparking curiosity and admiration in those around you. He'll find himself wanting to know more about the hobbies you've picked up, the goals you're chasing, the adventures you're embarking on. This shared enthusiasm creates opportunities for deeper connection, turning casual conversations into meaningful exchanges. It also gives him permission to pursue his own passions, knowing that your bond can withstand individual growth. In this way, independence doesn't pull you apart, it brings you closer together. As you cultivate this sense of self-reliance, remember that it's not about perfection, it's about progress. No one expects you to have everything figured out or to achieve some idealized version of success. What matters is the effort behind your actions, the intention to build a life that reflects who you truly are. Celebrate the wins, learn from the setbacks, and keep moving forward with determination and grace. Over time, these small choices add up, shaping you into someone who embodies strength, resilience, and authenticity, someone who stands tall even when standing alone. Ultimately, independence is about reclaiming your power. It's about refusing to let fear, doubt, or insecurity dictate how you show up in the world. When you embrace this philosophy, you signal to him and to yourself that you are someone worth pursuing, someone who thrives on challenge, who finds beauty in growth, who refuses to settle for anything less than extraordinary. And as you continue to refine this skill, you'll find that it doesn't just benefit your romantic relationships, it enhances every area of your life. People will gravitate toward you not because you demand their attention, but because you exude a quiet confidence that's impossible to ignore. So as you move forward, ask yourself, how can I prioritize my own happiness and fulfillment? How can I use my passions, my friendships, my dreams to create a life that feels vibrant and alive? These questions aren't just exercises. They're invitations to redefine how you engage with the world. Because when you master the art of independence, you don't just capture his intrigue, you inspire it. You become someone unforgettable, someone irreplaceable, someone who embodies the perfect blend of mystery and magnetism. And that, above all else, is how you stay unforgettable. Playing hard to get is often misunderstood, but when done the right way, it becomes one of the most powerful tools for sustaining intrigue. It's not about being aloof or distant, it's about valuing yourself enough to wait for genuine effort. When you position yourself as someone who doesn't settle for less than they deserve, you create a dynamic where he feels compelled to rise to the occasion. This isn't manipulation, it's self-respect. And self-respect has a way of commanding admiration without needing to say a word. Think about the people who inspire your respect. Are they the ones who chase after others, bending over backward to prove their worth? Or are they the ones who carry themselves with quiet confidence, knowing their value and refusing to compromise it? The answer is clear. True magnetism comes from within, from understanding that you are enough exactly as you are and that anyone lucky enough to have you in their life should appreciate what you bring to the table. When you embody this mindset, you stop chasing validation and start attracting it naturally. He'll notice the shift, even if he can't quite put it into words. Something about you will feel different, stronger, surer, more captivating. The key to playing hard to get the right way lies in balance. You don't want to come across as uninterested or disengaged. That would push him away rather than draw him closer. Instead, focus on creating moments of connection while maintaining a sense of mystery. Be present when you're together, giving him your attention and energy, but don't make yourself constantly available. Let him know you're interested, but also let him see that your time and presence are treasures he needs to earn. This subtle dance creates anticipation, making every interaction feel meaningful and worth pursuing. One of the most effective ways to achieve this balance is by setting boundaries, not out of fear, but out of respect for yourself. For example, if he cancels plans last minute or doesn't follow through on promises, don't immediately rush to accommodate him or pretend it didn't bother you. Acknowledge how it made you feel and give yourself permission to step back until he shows he values your time. This approach sends a clear message. I am here, but I won't be taken for granted. It forces him to reflect on his actions and consider whether he's truly giving you the effort you deserve. And when he does step up, you'll know it's because he genuinely cares, not because he expects you to always meet him halfway. But boundaries aren't just about protecting your time. They're about honoring your emotions too. If something doesn't sit right with you, trust your instincts and speak up. Too many people silence their feelings in the hope of keeping peace, only to resent the relationship later. Playing hard to get the right way means standing firm in your truth, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. When you do this, you model healthy behavior, not just for him, but for yourself. You begin to realize that relationships built on mutual respect and effort are far more rewarding than those rooted in compromise or imbalance. This approach also challenges you to redefine what you're willing to accept. What lines won't you cross? What standards must be met for you to feel valued and appreciated? These questions might seem daunting, but answering them honestly empowers you to take control of how you show up in your relationships. Start by observing your patterns. Do you tend to overlook red flags because you're afraid of losing someone? Do you find yourself bending your own rules to keep the peace? Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you identify these tendencies, you can begin to shift them, replacing old habits with new ones that align with the version of yourself you want to become. As you embrace this philosophy, remember that playing hard to get isn't about withholding affection, it's about offering it selectively. When you choose to invest your energy in someone who reciprocates it, you create a bond that feels authentic and fulfilling. You stop seeking approval through constant availability and start trusting that your essence speaks louder than any grand gesture ever could. This shift transforms not just how he sees you, but how you see yourself. You begin to recognize your worth, not as something that needs to be proven, but as something that simply exists, waiting to be acknowledged. Ultimately, playing hard to get the right way is about owning your power. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that refuses to settle for mediocrity, that demands respect without needing to ask for it. When you adopt this mindset, you signal to him and to the world that you are someone worth pursuing, someone who thrives on challenge, who finds beauty in growth, who refuses to dim their light for anyone. And as you continue to refine this skill, you'll find that it doesn't just enhance your romantic relationships, it elevates every area of your life. People will gravitate toward you not because you demand their attention, but because you exude a quiet confidence that's impossible to ignore. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, how can I set boundaries that honor my worth? How can I use my energy and presence to inspire genuine effort rather than settling for less? These questions aren't just exercises, they're opportunities to redefine how you engage with the world. Because when you master the art of playing hard to get the right way, you don't just capture his intrigue, you inspire it. You become someone unforgettable, someone irreplaceable, someone who embodies the perfect blend of mystery and magnetism. And that, above all else, is how you stay unforgettable. Confidence is the invisible thread that ties every aspect of your presence together. It's the quiet assurance that you carry within you, the unshakable belief that you are enough exactly as you are. When confidence radiates from you, it doesn't just attract attention, it commands it. Think about the people who light up a room without saying a word. Their energy speaks louder than any compliment or explanation ever could. That's the kind of power you're capable of owning when you step fully into your self-assurance. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, nurture, and embody through deliberate action and mindset. The foundation of confidence lies in how you treat yourself. If you constantly criticize your choices, doubt your abilities, or second-guess your worth, you send a message to the world and to him that you're unsure of who you are. But when you choose kindness over judgment, progress over perfection, and gratitude over comparison, you begin to rewrite the narrative. You start seeing yourself not as someone who needs fixing, but as someone who is already whole, already worthy, already extraordinary. This shift in perspective changes everything. It transforms the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you engage with others. Suddenly, you're not just participating in life, you're leading it. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate confidence is by celebrating small wins. Too often, we overlook the moments that seem insignificant. A compliment from a stranger, a task completed ahead of schedule, a decision made with clarity and intention. But these tiny victories are the building blocks of self-belief. They remind you that you're capable, resilient, and deserving of recognition. Start each day by acknowledging one thing you've done well, no matter how minor it might seem. Over time, these affirmations accumulate, reinforcing your sense of self-worth and strengthening your inner voice. And when that voice grows louder, it becomes impossible for anyone, including him, to ignore. But confidence isn't just an internal state. It's also reflected in how you show up externally. Your posture, your tone, your willingness to take up space all signal to the world whether you believe in yourself. Standing tall doesn't mean pretending to be invincible. It means embracing vulnerability while refusing to shrink. Speaking clearly doesn't mean dominating every conversation. It means expressing your thoughts with conviction and purpose. Taking up space doesn't mean overshadowing others. It means claiming what's rightfully yours. The right to exist fully, authentically, unapologetically. When you align your external actions with your internal beliefs, you create a seamless expression of confidence that draws people in. This alignment also challenges you to confront fear head-on. Confidence isn't the absence of doubt, it's the courage to move forward despite it. Every time you push past discomfort, every time you say yes to something that scares you, You expand your capacity for growth. Whether it's initiating a difficult conversation, pursuing a passion project, or simply setting boundaries where they're needed, each act of bravery reinforces your belief in your ability to handle whatever comes next. And as this belief grows, so does your magnetism. He'll notice the way you navigate challenges with grace and determination, the way you refuse to let fear dictate your choices. That kind of strength is irresistible. And yet, cultivating confidence requires patience. It's not a destination, it's a journey. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's okay. What matters is consistency, the commitment to showing up for yourself even when it feels hard. Practice looking in the mirror and finding one thing you love about what you see. Write down 3 things you're proud of at the end of each day. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, whose energy fuels your own. These habits may seem simple, but their impact is profound. They remind you that confidence isn't about being flawless. It's about embracing your humanity while choosing to shine anyway. As you continue to grow into your confidence, remember that it's not about competing with others. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Comparison steals joy and diminishes your unique brilliance. Instead of focusing on what others are doing, channel your energy into discovering what sets your soul on fire. What makes you feel alive? What brings you peace? What ignites your passion? When you pursue these answers with authenticity and intention, you naturally exude a confidence that can't be replicated. You become someone who stands out, not because you try to, but because you can't help but do so. Ultimately, confidence is about reclaiming your power. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that refuses to dim, that embraces challenge, that finds beauty in imperfection. When you adopt this mindset, you signal to him and to the world that you are someone worth pursuing. Someone who thrives on growth, who values themselves deeply, who refuses to settle for anything less than extraordinary. And as you continue to refine this skill, you'll find that it doesn't just enhance your romantic relationships. It elevates every area of your life. People will gravitate toward you not because you demand their attention, but because you exude an energy that's impossible to ignore. So as you move forward, ask yourself, how can I nurture my confidence daily? How can I use my words, my actions, my presence to reflect the truth of who I am? These questions aren't just exercises, they're opportunities to redefine how you engage with the world. Because when you master the art of confidence, you don't just capture his intrigue, you inspire it. You become someone unforgettable, someone irreplaceable, someone who embodies the perfect blend of mystery and magnetism. And that, above all else, is how you stay unforgettable. Taking a step back isn't about retreating. It's about creating space for growth, for reflection, for the kind of longing that deepens connection. When you pull away strategically, even just slightly, you allow him to feel the weight of your absence. You give him room to miss you, to realize what he might lose if he doesn't cherish what you bring to his life. This isn't manipulation, it's understanding the natural rhythm of relationships. Sometimes distance is the catalyst that sparks appreciation, that reminds him why he was drawn to you in the first place. Think about the moments when you've wanted something intensely, a goal, a dream, or even a person. Chances are it wasn't their constant presence that fueled your desire, but the fleeting glimpses, the moments when they were just out of reach. Scarcity amplifies value, and this principle applies to how you show up in his life. When you're always available, always present, you risk becoming part of the background, familiar, comfortable, expected. But when you create intentional gaps, when you let him sit with the uncertainty of not knowing exactly where he stands, you ignite a sense of urgency. He begins to wonder, to question, to crave the connection you share. And when you return, your presence feels like a gift, one he won't take for granted. This approach requires trust, not in him, but in yourself. It means believing that stepping back won't push him away, but will instead draw him closer. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't diminished by temporary distance. If anything, it's magnified. When you give him time to reflect, you also give yourself the opportunity to recharge, to reconnect with your own needs and desires. This balance ensures that your relationship remains healthy, dynamic, and rooted in mutual respect. It shifts the dynamic from dependency to interdependence, where both of you thrive individually while still valuing the bond you share. But knowing when to step back is an art. It's not about disappearing entirely or making him guess your every move. That would breed confusion rather than clarity. Instead, Focus on subtle shifts. If you're usually the one initiating contact, let him take the lead for a change. If you tend to fill silences with words, allow them to breathe instead. These small adjustments send a powerful message. I am here, but I won't chase. I value myself enough to wait for genuine effort. Over time, these moments of intentional distance become opportunities for him to prove his intentions, to show that he values you as much as you value yourself. And then there's the beauty of self-reflection that comes with stepping back. When you create space between you and him, you also create space within yourself. You begin to notice patterns, what makes you feel fulfilled, what leaves you drained, what boundaries need reinforcement. This awareness strengthens your sense of self, reminding you that relationships should enhance your life, not define it. You stop seeking validation through constant proximity and start trusting that your essence speaks louder than any grand gesture ever could. This shift transforms not just how he perceives you, but how you perceive yourself. You begin to see yourself as someone who thrives on balance, who refuses to compromise their peace for the sake of keeping someone close. As you embrace this mindset, remember that stepping back isn't a punishment, it's a reset. It's a way of recalibrating the relationship so that it aligns with the version of yourself you're striving to become. Start by observing your habits. Do you rush to smooth over conflicts, sacrificing your own feelings to keep the peace? Do you find yourself overextending emotionally, giving more than you receive? Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you identify these tendencies, you can begin to shift them, replacing old behaviors with new ones that honor your worth. Each pause, each moment of intentional distance becomes an act of self-respect, a declaration that you deserve effort, attention, and care. Ultimately, stepping back is about reclaiming your power. It's about refusing to settle for less than you deserve, about demanding respect without needing to ask for it. When you adopt this philosophy, you signal to him and to the world that you are someone worth pursuing, someone who thrives on challenge, who finds beauty in growth, who understands the importance of balance. And as you continue to refine this skill, you'll find that it doesn't just enhance your romantic relationships, it elevates every area of your life. People will gravitate toward you not because you demand their attention, but because you exude a quiet confidence that's impossible to ignore. So as you move forward, ask yourself, how can I use distance to deepen our connection? How can I step back in ways that honor my worth while inviting him to step up? These questions aren't just exercises, they're opportunities to redefine how you engage with the world. Because when you master the art of stepping back strategically, you don't just capture his intrigue, you inspire it. You become someone unforgettable, someone irreplaceable, someone who embodies the perfect blend of mystery and magnetism. And that, above all else, is how you stay unforgettable. Growth is the heartbeat of mystery. When you commit to becoming a better version of yourself every day, you create an energy that feels alive, magnetic, and impossible to pin down. Mystery isn't static, it evolves as you do. The more you explore, learn, and transform, the more layers you add to your story, leaving him constantly intrigued by the person you're becoming. This isn't about changing for someone else, it's about evolving for yourself. And when you grow with intention, you naturally draw others closer, not because they need to fix or complete you, but because they want to witness the brilliance of your journey. Think about the people who inspire you most, the ones who seem to glow from within, whose presence alone sparks curiosity. What sets them apart? It's not just their accomplishments or talents, it's their relentless pursuit of more. They don't settle for comfort zones or predictable routines. Instead, they embrace challenges, chase passions, and seek out experiences that stretch their limits. This mindset doesn't just make them fascinating, it makes them unforgettable. When you adopt this approach, you signal to him and to the world that you are someone who refuses to stand still, someone who thrives on discovery, who finds beauty in the process of becoming. The key to cultivating this kind of growth lies in staying curious. Curiosity keeps relationships fresh and dynamic because it invites constant exploration. Not just of the world around you, but of yourself. Ask questions you've never dared to ask before. What lights you up? What scares you? What dreams have you been too afraid to chase? These inquiries aren't just exercises. They're invitations to dig deeper, to uncover parts of yourself you may have overlooked. As you peel back these layers, you reveal new dimensions of who you are, keeping him engaged and eager to learn more. He'll see you not as someone fixed and unchanging, but as someone endlessly complex, always evolving, always surprising. But growth isn't just about introspection. It's also about action. True transformation happens when you step outside your comfort zone and take bold steps toward the life you envision. Try something that intimidates you, whether it's starting a passion project, learning a new skill, or simply saying yes to opportunities you'd normally shy away from. Each act of courage reinforces your belief in your ability to adapt and thrive. And when he sees you taking risks, pushing boundaries, and embracing uncertainty, he'll be inspired to do the same. Your growth becomes contagious, creating a ripple effect that strengthens your bond and deepens your connection. This commitment to evolution also challenges you to redefine what fulfillment looks like. Too often, we tie happiness to external milestones, a promotion, a relationship status, someone else's approval, but true satisfaction comes from within. It's about celebrating progress over perfection, finding joy in the journey rather than waiting for some imagined destination. When you shift your focus to internal growth, you stop relying on him or anyone else to validate your existence. Instead, you pour your energy into building a life that excites you, one that feels aligned with your values and aspirations. And as you do, you'll notice a change, not just in how he perceives you, but in how you perceive yourself. You begin to see yourself as someone capable, resilient, unstoppable. As you continue to grow, remember that evolution isn't linear. Some days will feel like leaps forward, while others may feel like steps back, and that's okay. What matters is consistency, the willingness to keep moving, even when the path feels uncertain. Celebrate small victories along the way. Did you try something new today? Did you confront a fear, however small? Did you wake up determined to be better than you were yesterday? These moments matter. They remind you that growth is a series of tiny decisions, each one adding up to something extraordinary. Over time, these choices shape you into someone who embodies strength, grace, and authenticity. Someone who stands tall no matter the circumstances. Ultimately, growth is about reclaiming your power. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that refuses to settle for mediocrity, that demands more from life and from relationships. When you adopt this philosophy, you signal to him and to the world that you are someone worth pursuing. Someone who thrives on challenge, who finds beauty in imperfection, who understands that true magnetism comes from the courage to keep evolving. And as you continue to refine this skill, you'll find that it doesn't just enhance your romantic connections, it elevates every area of your life. People will gravitate toward you not because you demand their attention, but because you exude an energy that's impossible to ignore. So as you move forward, ask yourself, how can I stay curious about my own potential? How can I use my passions, my fears, my dreams to fuel my growth? These questions aren't just exercises, they're opportunities to redefine how you engage with the world. Because when you master the art of continuous evolution, you don't just capture his intrigue, you inspire it. You become someone unforgettable, someone irreplaceable, someone who embodies the perfect blend of mystery and magnetism. And that, above all else, is how you stay unforgettable. Action is the bridge between inspiration and transformation. All the growth, confidence, and mystery you've cultivated means nothing if it isn't put into motion. This is where the real magic happens, where intention becomes impact, where potential turns into power. You've spent time reflecting, evolving, and preparing yourself to be someone unforgettable. Now it's time to step into that role fully and unapologetically. The moment you take action, you shift from dreaming about change to embodying it. And when you embody it, others can't help but notice. Think about the people who inspire you most, the ones who seem magnetic, unstoppable, larger than life. What sets them apart isn't just their ideas or their vision, it's their ability to execute. They don't wait for perfect conditions or endless validation before moving forward.